Connection's still weak.
Well, we're going to get started here. This is Cigar Box Nation TV for June 1st, 2016. I'm here with, I'm Ben Giddy Baker.
And I'm Glenn Watt.
And we're here today to talk to you a little bit about some of the upcoming events that are happening in the cigar box guitar world, and to talk about installing Mini Humbucker pickups in a cigar box guitar. So before we get too far into it, I want to let you know that we will try to answer some questions at the end. We've got Nick here on the camera, and when the time comes, he'll call them out to us. But for now, if you want to keep playing a little bit, this is the guitar and the pickup that we're going to be talking about in the second half of this broadcast, showing you how to get one of these snake oil Mini Humbucker pickups installed in a cigar box guitar. I should say that these broadcasts are always pretty much off the cuff and barely planned, and I usually give Glenn about 45 minutes of notice that, hey, we're going live at noon. Can you put something together?
It works.
And speaking of putting something together, this bench didn't exist about an hour ago either. Farley and Dreesen did a bang-up job of taking an old piano crate and making us a nice stand-up bench here for the Giddy Juke stage. So before we get into the how-to, a couple of housekeeping things, some announcements. This weekend we have 2 cigar box guitar festivals going on. The first is the 12th annual Huntsville Cigar Box Guitar Festival, held down in Huntsville, Alabama, at the Low Mill Arts and Entertainment Center. They've been doing it for 12 years. It was the first cigar box guitar festival in the country, and they've been at it for 12 years. It's really an amazing time. So if you're anywhere near Huntsville, you should get down there. It's Friday and Saturday night this weekend, June 3rd and 4th, and it's a great time. They've got a heck of a lineup of performers on the main stage there, and on the inside stage at Nickel Cigar Box Guitars. It's a great time. The second one is the St. Louis Cigar Box Guitar Festival, 4th annual, held in St. Louis, Missouri. And that's this Saturday, June 4th. You can get more information about them and find their the home pages with all of the info on cigarboxnation.com. If you look on the right-hand side, there's a 2016 festivals guide there, and it has all the info you could need. I should say again that this is Cigar Box Nation TV, sponsored by CB Giddy Crafter Supply and cigarboxnation.com. The second announcement we have is that starting tomorrow here at CB Giddy, we're going to have a special guest for up to a few weeks. He's going to be kind of on a sabbatical program here at CB Giddy. AJ Gaither. AJ Gaither is a traveling musician who plays cigar box guitar, diddly bow, other handmade instruments. He puts on a heck of a show doing a lot of great songs that he wrote himself. Real good kind of down-home, back-country mix of country and western, mountain music, all sorts of good stuff. Glenn, where did we first meet AJ?
Oh, for crying out loud. It's been a while now.
It's out of Chicago, wasn't it?
It was out of Chicago, yes, sir.
Yeah, 2 years ago at the Chicago Cigar Box Guitar Festival. Glenn and I went out for that and got to meet and see AJ perform and a lot of other great musicians there at that festival. It was a really good time. So we're happy. We hope to be doing some live broadcasts with AJ. Maybe get him to do a live concert or something from here in the Juke stage, and
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a good time. Final announcement. There's a new Cigar Box Nation channel on YouTube, just created last night. by me. A lot of button mashing went into it. But there's a channel specific to Cigar Box Nation on YouTube, and we are going to use that for archiving all of these Cigar Box Nation TV videos and some of the other best of the best videos that we either make or find related to cigar box guitars and handmade instruments. So pretty excited about that. So now that's all of the announcements. So now we can start talking about a little bit of how-to information here for you.
Sweet.
Actually, there is one more announcement of sorts. Glenn, he's been with CB Goody for a long time now. One of the first people to join the team, and we've finally been able to get him more into splitting his time between being out in the shop building and creating how-to articles and content that we can then share with you on Cigar Box Nation, on cbgiddy.com, cigarboxguitar.com. We're going to get them out everywhere we can. And the first one that just went live yesterday is specifically on Glenn writing about how he took this cigar box guitar design, the Amor, and, as in his own words, took it to a whole new level by adding the snake oil Mini Humbucker pickup. So we're going to kind of walk through some sections of this article and talk about some of the tips and tricks and things that Glenn can share with us. Going to kind of show you one that's partly done, and then you've already heard and seen the one that's all finished and ready to play. You can find this article both on cbgiddy.com. If you go to the news link at the top in the menu there, it'll be the first entry in the news item. And we've also archived it into the knowledge base at cigarboxguitar.com. So I've been doing enough talking. Glenn, why don't you talk a little bit about why you chose this component for this guitar? Why a Mini Humbucker?
Sure. This particular cigar box guitar we wanted to take to kind of use this, the title as an explanation to a different level of guitars that we normally offer here by adding a fat, warm, low end to an electric guitar. And the snake oil pickup that you oftentimes may see Shane Spiel playing with provides exactly that. It gives this nice low end punch to a guitar that normally cigar box guitars tend to have, you know, if depending on the electronics that you may or may not have in them, can have a rather authentic, scratchy, punchy, but rustic sound to them. Whereas a magnetic pickup kind of levels it up a little bit, giving you a bit more control over what kind of sound you can get out of your guitar, which is why we chose the snake oil pickup. And I know we're dealing with a phone for a camera, but nonetheless, we have.
You can bring it in for a close-up, Nick, if you want.
And so a couple of things.
The whole thing,
Hey.
the tripod and all, and just kind of lean it in.
So for instance, we do have, you know, again, the snake oil magnetic pickup. It's a little bit smaller. It's a mini humbucker, whereas you'll oftentimes see humbuckers. I know humbuckers are generally 2 single coil pickups. And for whatever, if you wouldn't mind, I'm sorry, Nick, you're being such a champion. I apologize. But a single coil pickup has oftentimes a little bit of hum to it. And go ahead.
I'd like to say we apologize for the autofocus. We'll try to move things back and forth as little as possible, but we don't have a way to turn it off. So sorry about that. Don't get seasick.
And so the humbucker generally has 2 single coils that are wound in different directions, and when put together, oftentimes buck that hum that you would get with a single coil pickup. This is simply a mini humbucker pickup. Thank you so much, Ben. A mini humbucker pickup, and it's just encased or enclosed in this gold material, it can be. We also have them in chrome. But what it does is, again, as opposed to a single coil, which generally has like a gritty sound, these mini humbuckers have a really warm, low, punchy end to them. Some really mellow tones, and you can get some really nice soaring, depending especially on where you place it in your guitar, you can get some nice soaring high end as well. Now the reason that we chose to locate it, because the bridge, as you can see here, do you mind if I go on to this next part?
No, that's fine.
All right. The reason that we chose to locate the pickup closer to the neck of the cigar box guitar is because the closer that you have to the tail of your guitar, or where the bridge is, or the bridge where the strings mount, more of a high or trebly sound you're going to get out of your pickup. Whereas having the humbucker, which is great, but having the humbucker, if only one, the reason we chose to have it on this is to give it more of a low, bassier, booming sound, especially for your for some really sweet blues licks.
Yeah.
And having it close to the neck allows for that warm, bassy sound.
And that was the first thing I wanted to bring up from the guide. Choosing where to place your pickup in or on a cigar box guitar. Of course, some of it is dictated by what is inside the box. If you've got a neck through model, you know, things are a little more, can get a little more tricky. You can see here, hopefully, that Glenn has he's doubled up the neck inside the box and then notched down into it so the inner part of the pickup has room to sit down over it. But really, it's choosing where to put it is based on the sound you want. As he said, towards the bridge you get a higher trebly sound, towards the neck you get that warmer, more mellow sound. And if you look at like a classic Les Paul or you know, some of the conventional factory-made guitars, they'll have two with a selector switch, so you can have the trebly sound when you want it, have the warm, rich neck sound when you want it, or blend the two together. So, as Glenn said, on a guitar with just one, generally, not always, having it more towards the neck will give you a more mellow sound.
Nice warm low end to it.
Yeah.
And like Ben was saying though, for the installation, and I think this is a good place to move on to.
All right.
I don't quite remember where we're at. So, but what we have is the neck is, I know it's difficult to see, bear with me here, is doubled up. You can see where the neck is essentially like a 1x2, in this case, piece of maple. There's another 1x2 piece of maple glued to the bottom of that, running the length down through here, and that pocket was notched so that the box lid can close after the pickup is installed. And
I'll take it over.
All right.
We'll try it again. Apologize for autofocus. We are making this up as we go, but hopefully you can see there that Glenn has added that extra piece underneath the neck, right down to where it's attached to the bottom of the cigar box. And that strengthens the neck so that when he notches down into it here, it doesn't weaken it and cause it to let go and bow too much.
excellent. Now, in terms of, say, getting the pickup installed into the cigar box lid and notching the neck so that it will fit after the box lid is closed, there are a couple of things that you'll see in the article. Again, I know that Ben has got it archived on cigarboxguitar.com, and you can also find it at cbgiddy.com/news. That would be the hyperlink, right?
I believe
or
so.
The URL.
Click the news link on there.
And so you'll get full text description of all the images that go with this.
He's got like 19 separate photographs stepping through pretty much every portion of the installation process. And we're just kind of touching on two or three of the key points here today.
And then we also...
And then questions at the end. We'll try to get to as many as we can. So the second thing I wanted to bring up, Glenn, is in the article you say that when you're getting ready to cut the opening for the pickup, that you both put painter's tape over the surface of the box, and that you pre-score the cutout with a razor knife.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us why those two things?
Well, the painter's tape, because if I don't put it on the box and I start drawing lines on it, I'm going to goof something up and ruin my box. Straightforward honesty. But
now, painter's tape is like the blue tape that you can get at hardware stores. It goes on and comes off without leaving residue or sticking too much.
Exactly. Provided, especially like if you leave your painter's tape on for days on end, you may, if you peel it off, take up something with it. It's designed to take off as soon as possible, but it's a great way to protect your cigar box when you go to draw on locations for volume knobs, sound holes, in this case the snake oil humbucker pickup that goes into the Amor. Put down painter's tape on the box lid. We have here, and which is available to everyone, they're awesome, are these routing templates that are specific to every pickup that we sell. So in this case, one of the routing templates has a space for the snake oil mini humbucker with or without this paddock wooden hardwood mounting ring. And so in this case, with the mounting ring, I use the router template on the blue tape, draw the section that is to be removed from the box lid, a couple simple, and the razor knife. after drawing that hole, I use the razor knife to score the tape and therefore the box lid underneath it, because when making that cut to remove this section that will fit the magnetic pickup, when cutting that section, if my saw or whatever tool I'm using ventures past the line that is supposed to be for the pickup, I could tear the paper, in this case the paper, or even if it's wood, tear the box lid in such a fashion that is going to be upsetting and possibly be aesthetically not pleasing. So that painter's tape to help draw the lines, the razor knife to help score the lines so that I don't have any tear out, unwanted tear out,
Right.
and then carefully remove the tape. And something that I may have, I know I did, I put in the article, when removing the tape, also, I like to peel in towards the hole.
Yeah.
You peel out away from the hole, and I've done this a million times. So you'd think I'd learn after the first few, but I still do it on occasion. Thankfully, not on these. But peeling out away from the hole will tear that paper. Peeling in towards the hole, whatever hole that you have on your cigar box, will prevent that kind of paper tear out, which is again unwanted.
And it's the same with an all wood box. Trying to bring the tape away from the hole can pull up chips of wood, splinters of wood away from that cut opening. So, yeah, and all of the problems Glenn was just describing with tear out and splintering, that is one reason why a lot of people like a cover plate, because you can be a little bit sloppy with the hole itself and then cover all of that up with a nice decorative plate.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the third thing, Glenn, from the article is on the final page here, and routing the wires inside an electric cigar box guitar. Whether you're using a piezo pickup glued to the lid, a magnetic pickup, you know, right now in this one, Glenn just has the pickup installed, but there will be a volume control that goes in over here in this corner, and then the output jack is going to come out of what will be the bottom corner. So, you know, that's some moving around of wires. They've got to cross the neck, and thinking about the best way to do that. What are some of the things that you look at when you're putting one together?
Certainly, thank you. When installing the pickup, I would like to have, I take into consideration, as you can see here, unfortunately not in this box yet, but in this box, here's the volume control, and on the back of the Mini Humbucker, the input jack, where oftentimes you see it up or on these lower ends of the cigar box. In this case, it's up on the upper end of the cigar box, because this input jack is also a strap button, so that I can hook my strap up to that. I have a strap button that is not an input jack on this end of the cigar box, and therefore, rather than have the input jack down here being a strap button as well, I chose to put it on this side, which gave me a slight challenge to overcome. So I want the wire from the magnetic pickup to be able to reach the volume knob without much of a hassle, but I also need to have the input jack reach the volume knob as well, so that I will install the pickup with its wire coming off the pickup and on the side of the cigar box. Thank you so much, Ben, I'm sorry. So that the volume knob being here, this is the side that I want the wire coming off, so that I'm not having to monkey around with if the wire are on this end, having to monkey around trying to fit the wire in between the neck and the lid, or create a channel in the neck in order to fit the wire through. So again, to make things easy, I put the wire on this side, so when it's closed, it's facing or it's touching the volume knob on this side. But also the input jack, as you can see here, has to be wired now across the neck. So in this case, I did have to create, it's going to be impossible to see at this distance, but cut a channel in between part of the neck and the cigar box, so
there's
that
an 1/8 inch gap here at the very base of the neck, that wire can run through from the volume pot to the output jack.
Absolutely. And that is essentially, in a nutshell, that's the reasoning behind how it is that we would choose the routing direction for the wires.
Yeah, especially if you're building a neck-through cigar box guitar where you don't have a lot of clearance between the lid and the neck inside the box. You know, you get your pickup all wired up, everything's hooked up, and you go to close the box lid, and you're like, oh man, that wire is sticking up there and keeping the box lid from closing all the way. So thinking about the routing of your wiring before you get it all closed up is a very good idea. And just as an added tip, I always recommend test your wiring before you get the box all sealed up. Because if you put all the time into finishing it, especially if you glue it shut, box corners, everything on, you plug it in, strum, nothing. Like, now you got to open it all back up and start testing your wiring. So always test before you get it all sealed up. That's my advice. So Glenn, I'd like to thank you. This article, it's a great article. If you've been thinking about moving into magnetic pickups, the Mini Humbuckers, the snake oil Mini Humbuckers are a great thing to get started with. And Glenn's article really makes it easier to take that plunge. So check it out. Before we end here today, I just want to recap. Well, no, let's take questions. We got any questions?
None yet.
Not a one. All right. So I'm going to recap Cigar Box Guitar Festivals this weekend. Huntsville, Alabama, June 3rd and 4th, Friday and Saturday, the 12th year of that one. Also this weekend, St. Louis, the 4th annual St. Louis Cigar Box Guitar Festival. Get more details about both of those on cigarboxnation.com. Click on the festival 2016 Festivals Guide link. And also, I want to remind you that AJ Gaither is going to be here at CB Giddy in the days ahead. We're going to be doing an interview or two with him, some live music broadcasts, and who knows what sort of fun we'll get up to. So hope you will tune in for those.
There was a request earlier that probably be covered in another video. There's a request to hear an Onyx amp being played.
Oh, one of our Onyx Cigar Box guitar amps. That's a good request. Unfortunately, we don't have one in here with us, but for most of the amps, we are actively working on getting demo videos of them into the listing. Rayner has taken a stab at that, and we want to get him back at it. Recording with an electric guitar like the Mini Amor here. When the amp isn't on, it's fairly quiet, and when the amp is on, you get that volume. So showing you the difference between those, an electric guitar, and then turn on the little Cigar Box amp and hear the sound it puts out. It's really so we're working on that.
Foot stomper.
Foot stomper. Nick's surprising me here with we just got a very limited edition of Shane Spiel's foot stompers listed on cbgiddy.com. This is a very short run. I believe there's 3 of them, of prototype Cigar Box foot stompers that were built here in coordination with Shane. He was here on site and he helped us with the design. He's been working on this design for years. I forget how many years, at least 6 years. He uses them on stage, figuring out where to put the piezos in there, the use of a preamp to dial in the sound. They're the real deal. If you've been looking for a foot stomper to add into your act, these are the ones to go with. And we're going to have a production line of them using custom boxes that we make in-house. These first 3, using the great big Drew Estates Undercrown cigar boxes, are... Once these 3 are gone, I don't believe we're going to be building any more of that style. So this is, and Shane signed each one of them too when he was here the other week. So I think that's all we have for you. I'd like to thank you for watching. We'll be archiving this both on Facebook and the Cigar Box Nation YouTube channel. So until next time, thank you everyone. Thank you Glenn, Nick, and happy building.